As we continue our exploration of selfishness, it is important to understand its psychological underpinnings and how it affects our interactions with others. Psychologists have long studied selfishness and its impact on human behavior. One key aspect of this is the concept of egocentrism, which is the inability to differentiate between one's own perspective and that of others. This is particularly evident in young children who are naturally egocentric as part of their developmental stage. However, as individuals grow and mature, they typically develop the ability to take others' perspectives into account, fostering empathy and social cooperation. Despite this natural progression, some individuals retain egocentric tendencies into adulthood. This can result in behaviors that prioritize personal gain over the welfare of others. Egocentric individuals often struggle to see beyond their own needs and desires, leading to actions that can harm or alienate those around them. This inability to consider the perspectives and feelings of others is a hallmark of selfishness and is often at the root of conflicts and misunderstandings in personal relationships. In the context of relationships, selfishness can be particularly damaging. Romantic partnerships, friendships, and family bonds all rely on mutual respect, understanding, and compromise. When one party consistently prioritizes their own needs without regard for the other, it creates an imbalance that can lead to resentment, mistrust, and ultimately the breakdown of the relationship. Healthy relationships are built on the foundation of give and take, where both parties feel valued and heard. Selfishness disrupts this balance, making it difficult for true intimacy and connection to flourish. In the workplace, selfishness can manifest in various ways, from taking credit for others' work to prioritizing personal advancement over team success. This type of behavior undermines teamwork and collaboration, creating a toxic environment where individuals are pitted against each other rather than working together towards common goals. When employees or leaders act selfishly, it not only affects morale, but can also have a detrimental impact on the overall productivity and success of the organization. Effective leaders recognize the importance of fostering a culture of collaboration and support, where the success of the group is valued over individual accolades. The societal impact of selfishness is equally profound. In a world increasingly interconnected through globalization and technology, the actions of individuals can have far-reaching consequences. Economic inequality, environmental degradation, and social injustice are often exacerbated by selfish behaviors on a systemic level. For instance, corporate practices driven by profit at the expense of ethical considerations can lead to exploitative labor conditions, environmental harm, and economic disparities. When companies prioritize shareholder returns over social responsibility, they contribute to a cycle of selfishness that perpetuates inequality and hinders sustainable development. One striking example of the impact of selfishness on a global scale is the environmental crisis. The exploitation of natural resources for short-term gain, without regard for the long-term consequences, has led to climate change, pollution, and the loss of biodiversity. This form of selfishness, often driven by corporate interests and consumerism, poses a significant threat to the planet and future generations. Addressing these issues requires a shift from a mindset of exploitation to one of stewardship, where individuals and organizations take responsibility for their actions and prioritize the well-being of the environment and society. Combating selfishness at both the individual and societal levels necessitates a multifaceted approach. Education plays a crucial role in fostering empathy and social responsibility from a young age. By teaching children the importance of kindness, cooperation, and respect for others, we can help cultivate a generation that values the collective good over individual gain. Schools and educational programs can integrate social and emotional learning, sell into their curricula, helping students develop the skills needed to navigate interpersonal relationships and contribute positively to their communities. In addition to education, creating opportunities for community engagement and volunteerism can help individuals develop a sense of connection and responsibility to others. When people are actively involved in their communities, they are more likely to see the value in helping others and working towards common goals. Volunteer experiences can be particularly impactful, providing firsthand insight into the challenges faced by others and the difference that collective action can make. The consequences of selfishness extend far beyond individual actions. It shapes society on a larger scale. When selfishness becomes the dominant force in a society, it leads to a breakdown in trust, cooperation, and empathy. Communities and relationships that thrive on mutual respect and support are replaced with environments that foster competition and self-interest. This erosion of collective well-being can result in social fragmentation, inequality, and the marginalization of those who are less able to advocate for their own needs. In the extreme, selfishness can contribute to systemic problems such as poverty, injustice, and even war, as individuals and groups act in their own self-interest, disregarding the needs or rights of others. At the heart of selfishness lies the prioritization of one's own desires, often at the expense of others. This may manifest in various forms, from minor acts of self-centeredness to more significant actions that cause harm or disregard the needs of others. In its mildest form, selfishness might simply mean indulging in one's own desires without considering the impact on others. For example, taking the last piece of food without offering it to anyone else may be an innocent, fleeting act of selfishness, but it still reflects an internalized habit of thinking about oneself first. In more serious cases, selfishness can lead to manipulative behaviors, exploitation, and even the deliberate harm of others to achieve personal gain. Selfishness is often fueled by a desire for power, wealth, or status. People may believe that by prioritizing their own needs, they are securing their place in society or ensuring their success. This drive for self-interest can be seen in every sphere of life, from business practices that exploit workers to political systems that prioritize the interests of the wealthy over the needs of the poor. In many cases, the pursuit of wealth and power becomes an all-consuming force, leading individuals and organizations to justify their actions by any means necessary. When this happens, selfishness is no longer a simple human flaw. It becomes a systemic problem that perpetuates inequality and undermines the social fabric. But selfishness does not exist in a vacuum. It is often learned and reinforced through socialization, media, and cultural narratives. From a young age, individuals are taught to value their own success and happiness, sometimes at the expense of others. In some cultures, the pursuit of individual success is celebrated and rewarded, while communal values are diminished or overlooked. This cultural emphasis on self-interest can lead to a lack of empathy and compassion for others, as individuals become increasingly focused on their own personal advancement. The rise of consumerism and materialism in modern society has further amplified this mindset, encouraging people to define their worth by what they own or achieve rather than by the impact they have on others. Psychologically, selfishness can also be a response to feelings of insecurity, fear, or inadequacy. When individuals feel threatened or uncertain about their place in the world, they may resort to selfish behavior as a way of protecting themselves or securing their own survival. In these cases, selfishness is a defense mechanism, a way of coping with vulnerability. It may also be the result of negative past experiences where individuals were forced to fend for themselves or were taught that their needs were not important. In such cases, selfishness becomes a way of compensating for a lack of support or validation from others. Additionally, cultivating a sense of responsibility to others is essential in counteracting selfish tendencies. This sense of responsibility can be nurtured through education, community engagement, and the promotion of values such as kindness, fairness, and justice. By emphasizing the importance of shared goals and collective well-being, society can help individuals recognize that their success is not achieved in isolation, but through cooperation and collaboration with others. One of the most effective ways to combat selfishness is through empathy, developing the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. Empathy allows individuals to see the world from someone else's perspective, helping them to recognize the impact their actions have on others. It fosters compassion and encourages a sense of interconnectedness, reminding people that their well-being is linked to the well-being of others. Empathy also helps to bridge divides, whether they are social, cultural, or economic, and fosters cooperation and mutual respect. Despite the negative aspects of selfishness, it is important to recognize that there is also a more nuanced and balanced form of self-interest. It is not inherently wrong to take care of one's own needs or to pursue personal goals. In fact, self-care, self-respect, and self-awareness are essential components of a healthy and fulfilling life. However, the key lies in striking a balance between self-interest and the consideration of others. It is possible to pursue one's own happiness and well-being while also acknowledging the needs, feelings, and rights of those around us. The challenge, then, is not to eliminate selfishness entirely, but to cultivate a form of self-interest that is not destructive or harmful to others. Selfishness, when unchecked, can have a profound and lasting impact on individuals, relationships, and society as a whole. It is a destructive force that erodes trust, diminishes empathy, and fuels inequality. However, by recognizing the roots of selfishness and addressing the systemic and psychological factors that contribute to it, we can begin to move toward a more compassionate and balanced world. The key is to find harmony between self-interest and the well-being of others, cultivating a mindset that values cooperation, empathy, and mutual respect. Through education, empathy, and cultural change, we can work to reduce selfishness and build a more just, equitable, and compassionate society for all. It is also important to challenge the narratives that perpetuate selfishness. Media and popular culture often glorify individual success and self-promotion, but these messages can be damaging if they reinforce the idea that one's worth is defined solely by personal achievement. Instead, we should celebrate stories of compassion, community, and selflessness, highlighting the positive impact that individuals can have on the lives of others. By reshaping cultural norms and values, we can create a society where generosity, empathy, and mutual respect are prioritized over selfishness and self-interest. Selfishness is a human trait that, at its core, involves putting one's own needs, desires, and interests above those of others, often without consideration for the well-being or feelings of others. It is an instinct that can manifest in subtle ways, and in more extreme cases, it can lead to actions that harm or exploit others. Selfishness is a concept that has been discussed, debated, and analyzed throughout history. Philosophers, theologians, and psychologists have explored its origins, its impact on society, and how it can be addressed. While some may argue that selfishness is inherent in human nature, others suggest that it is a learned behavior, one that is shaped by society, upbringing, and individual experiences. Regardless of its source, selfishness remains a powerful force, one that has a profound effect on personal relationships, communities, and even entire nations. Dishonesty can have significant psychological underpinnings. Research in psychology has shown that dishonesty is influenced by a combination of individual and situational factors. Personality traits such as narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism have been linked to a higher propensity for dishonest behavior. Situational factors, including the presence of authority figures, peer pressure, and perceived consequences, also play a crucial role in whether someone chooses to act dishonestly. Additionally, cognitive biases and rationalizations can enable individuals to justify their dishonest actions, further complicating efforts to address and prevent dishonesty. Dishonesty is a complex and multifaceted issue that permeates many aspects of human life. It is an intentional act of deception, ranging from small white lies to significant frauds that can have far-reaching consequences. The motivations behind dishonesty are varied and can include personal gain, fear of punishment, protection of self or others, and sometimes even the desire to maintain social harmony. To understand dishonesty, it is essential to explore its different forms, causes, effects, and the ways it can be addressed and mitigated. Cheating is another prevalent form of dishonesty, which can be found in educational, professional, and recreational settings. Academic dishonesty, such as plagiarism and cheating on exams, undermines the integrity of the educational system and devalues genuine achievements. In professional settings, cheating can manifest as manipulating data, inflating accomplishments, or engaging in unethical business practices. In sports, cheating might involve the use of performance-enhancing drugs or other methods to gain an unfair advantage. Cheating erodes fairness and integrity, creating an uneven playing field and fostering resentment among those who adhere to the rules. One of the most common forms of dishonesty is lying, which involves providing false information or withholding the truth. Lying can occur in numerous contexts, such as in personal relationships, professional settings, and even in public life. People lie for various reasons, including avoiding embarrassment, protecting someone's feelings, or gaining an advantage. While some lies may seem harmless, they can erode trust over time, leading to a breakdown in relationships and communication. Trust is a foundational component of healthy relationships, and when it is compromised, the resulting damage can be difficult to repair. Stealing, an overt form of dishonesty, involves taking something that does not belong to you. This can range from petty theft to large-scale embezzlement and can occur in various settings, including workplaces, homes, and public spaces. Stealing violates the principle of respect for others' property and can have severe legal and personal consequences. It also undermines trust within communities and creates an environment of suspicion and fear. Fraud and corruption are more sophisticated forms of dishonesty that involve deception for personal or financial gain. Fraud typically involves false representations or misleading information to deceive others, while corruption involves the abuse of power for personal benefit. Both fraud and corruption can have devastating effects on organizations, economies, and societies. They undermine trust in institutions, distort markets, and contribute to social and economic inequality. High-profile cases of fraud and corruption can lead to widespread disillusionment and cynicism, further eroding public trust in leadership and governance. Dishonesty can have significant psychological underpinnings. Research in psychology has shown that dishonesty is influenced by a combination of individual and situational factors. Personality traits such as narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism have been linked to a higher propensity for dishonest behavior. Situational factors, including the presence of authority figures, peer pressure, and perceived consequences, also play a crucial role in whether someone chooses to act dishonestly. Additionally, cognitive biases and rationalizations can enable individuals to justify their dishonest actions, further complicating efforts to address and prevent dishonesty. Cultural norms and values also play a significant role in shaping attitudes toward dishonesty. In some cultures, certain forms of dishonesty may be more acceptable or even expected in specific contexts. For instance, in highly competitive business environments, bending the truth or engaging in deceptive practices might be viewed as a necessary part of strategy. Understanding these cultural nuances is essential for developing effective strategies to combat dishonesty. Cultural differences can affect how dishonesty is perceived and addressed, and strategies that work in one context may not be effective in another. Addressing dishonesty requires a multifaceted approach that considers the individual, situational, and cultural factors that contribute to dishonest behavior. Education and awareness campaigns can help individuals understand the importance of honesty and the consequences of dishonesty. Teaching ethical decision-making skills and promoting a culture of integrity can also be effective in reducing dishonest behavior. By emphasizing the long-term benefits of honesty and the potential risks of dishonesty, individuals may be more inclined to choose ethical behavior. Organizations play a crucial role in promoting honesty by creating environments that encourage transparency and accountability. Implementing clear policies and procedures, providing regular training on ethical behavior, and establishing mechanisms for reporting and addressing dishonest behavior can help create a culture of integrity. Organizations should also recognize and reward honesty and ethical behavior, reinforcing the value of these traits. Leadership within organizations has a significant influence on the overall ethical climate, and leaders who model honest behavior can set a positive example for others to follow. In the legal and regulatory sphere, robust laws and enforcement mechanisms are essential in deterring and addressing dishonest behavior. This includes not only punishing those who engage in dishonest practices, but also providing protections for whistleblowers who expose corruption and fraud. Legal frameworks should promote transparency and accountability, ensuring that individuals and organizations are held to high ethical standards. Governments and regulatory bodies must be vigilant in enforcing laws and regulations to maintain public trust and deter dishonest behavior. On a societal level, fostering a culture of honesty and integrity requires the collective efforts of individuals, organizations, and institutions. Media and educational institutions have a responsibility to promote ethical behavior and highlight the importance of honesty. Community programs and initiatives that encourage civic engagement and social responsibility can also play a vital role in building a culture of integrity. By promoting values such as honesty, fairness, and respect, societies can create environments that discourage dishonest behavior and support ethical decision-making. Technology also plays a role in both facilitating and combating dishonesty. Advances in technology have made it easier for individuals to engage in dishonest behavior, such as through cybercrime and digital fraud. However, technology can also be used to promote transparency and accountability. For example, blockchain technology offers the potential for creating immutable records that can reduce opportunities for fraud and corruption. Additionally, data analytics and artificial intelligence can help detect patterns of dishonest behavior, enabling organizations and authorities to take proactive measures. Despite the challenges, there are numerous examples of successful efforts to address and mitigate dishonesty. Whistleblower programs have been effective in uncovering fraud and corruption, leading to legal actions and policy changes. Transparency initiatives such as open government data and corporate disclosure requirements have increased accountability and reduced opportunities for dishonest behavior. Ethical training programs and codes of conduct have helped organizations create cultures that prioritize honesty and integrity. Ultimately, addressing dishonesty is an ongoing and complex challenge that requires a commitment to understanding the underlying causes of dishonest behavior and developing strategies to promote honesty and integrity. While it may not be possible to eliminate dishonesty entirely, taking a comprehensive and proactive approach can create environments that encourage honest behavior and reduce the prevalence of dishonesty. This requires the collective efforts of individuals, organizations, and institutions, as well as a commitment to education, transparency, and accountability. Dishonesty is not only a moral issue but also a practical one, as it affects the functioning of societies and economies. The costs of dishonesty are substantial, including financial losses, legal penalties, and damage to reputations. In business, dishonesty can lead to loss of customer trust, reduced employee morale, and decreased investor confidence. In politics, dishonesty can result in a loss of public trust and legitimacy, undermining the effectiveness of governance. In personal relationships, dishonesty can lead to conflicts, mistrust, and emotional distress. Therefore, fostering an environment that values and promotes honesty is essential for the well-being and prosperity of individuals and societies. It is a collective responsibility that involves everyone, from individuals making ethical choices in their daily lives to leaders and policymakers creating systems and structures that support honesty and transparency. By understanding